Then the Lord answered Job out of the tempest. Who is this whose ignorant words cloud my design in darkness? Brace yourself and stand up like a man. I will ask questions and you shall answer. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundations? Tell me if you know and understand. Who settled its dimensions? Surely you should know. Who stretched out his measuring line over it? On what do its supporting pillars rest? Who set its cornerstone in place when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted aloud? Who watched over the birth of the sea when it burst in a flood from the womb? When I wrapped it in a blanket of cloud and cradled it in fog? When I established its bounds, fixing its doors and bars in place, and said, "Thus far shall you come, and no farther, and here your surging waves shall halt." In all your life, have you ever called up the dawn or shown the morning star's place? Have you taught it to grasp the fringes of the earth and shake the dog star from its place? To bring up the horizon in relief as clay under a seal? Until all things stand out like folds of a cloak, when the light of the dog star is dimmed, and the stars of the navigator's line go out one by one? Have you descended into the springs of the sea, or walked in unfathomable deep? Have the gates of death been revealed to you? Have you ever seen the doorkeepers of the place of darkness? Have you comprehended the vast expanse of the world? Come, tell me all this if you know. Which is the way to the home of light, and where does darkness dwell? And can you then take each to its appointed bound, and escort it on its homeward path? Doubtless you know all this, for you were born already. So long is your span of life. Have you visited the storehouse of snow, or seen the arsenal where hail is stored, which I have kept ready for the day of calamity, for war, and for the hour of battle? By what paths is the heat spread abroad, or the east wind carried far and wide over the earth? Who has cut channels for the downpour, and cleared a passage for the thunderstorm? For rain to fall on a land where no man dwells, and on the deserted wilderness, clothing lands waste and derelict with green, and making grass grow on thirsty ground. Has the rain a father, who stored the drops of dew, whose womb gave birth to the ice, and who was the mother of the frost of heaven, which lays a stony cover over the waters, and freezes the expanse of the ocean? Can you bind the cluster of the Pleiades, or loose Orion's belt? Can you bring out the signs of the zodiac in their season, or guide Aldebaran and its train? Did you proclaim the rules that govern the heavens, or determine the laws of nature on earth? Can you command the dense clouds to cover you with their weight of waters? If you bid lightning speed on its way, will you say, "I am ready"? Who put wisdom in the depths of darkness, and veiled understanding in secrecy? Who is wise enough to marshal the rain clouds and empty cisterns of heaven? when the dusty soil sets hard as iron, and the clods of the earth cling together? Do you hunt or prey for the lioness, and satisfy the hunger of young lions as they crouch in the lair, or lie in wait in the covert? Who provides a raven with its coy, when its flinging croak for lack of food? Do you know when the mountain goats are born, or attend to the wild doe when she is in labor? Do you count the months that they carry their young, or know the time of their delivery? When they crouch down to open their wombs, and bring their offspring to birth, when fawns grow and strive in open forest, and go forth and do not return? Who has let the wild ass of Syria range at will, and given the wild ass of Arabia its freedom? Whose home I have made in the wilderness, and its lair in the sultans. It disdains the noise of the city, and is deaf to the driver's shouting. It roams the hills as its pasture, and searches for anything green. Does the wild ox consult to serve you? Does it spend the night in your stall? Can you harness its strength with ropes, or will it haul the falls? After you, can you depend on it, strong as it is, or leave your labor to it? Do you trust it to come back, and bring home your grain to the threshing floor? The wings of the ostrich are stunted, her pinions and plumage are so scanty that she abandons her eggs to the ground, letting them be kept warm and by the sand. She forgets that a foot may crush them, or a wild beast may trample on them. She treats her chicks heartlessly as if they were not hers, not caring if her labor is wasted. For God has denied her wisdom and left her without sense. Well, like a cock she struts over the uplands, scorning both horse and rider. Did you give the horse his strength? Did you clothe his neck with a mane? Do you make him quiver like a locust's wings when his shrill neighboring strikes terror? He shows his mantle as he paws and prances. He charges the armored line with all his might. He scorns alarms and knows no display. He does not flinch before the sword. The quiver rattles at his side. The spear and sabre flash. Trembling with eagerness, he devours the ground and cannot be held in. When he hears the horn, at the blast of the horn, he cries, "Aha!" And from afar he scents the battle. Does your skill teach the hawk to use its pinions and spread its wings towards the south? Do you instruct the vulture to fly high? Do you instruct the vulture to fly high and build its nest aloft? It dwells among the rocks, and there it lodges. Its station is a crevice in the rock. From there it searches for food, keenly scanning the distance, that its broad may be gorged with blood. And where the slain are, there the vulture is. Can you pull out the Leviathan with a gaff, or can you slip a noose round its tongue? Can you pass a cord through its nose, or put a hook through its jaws? Will it plead with you for mercy, or beg its life with soft words? Will it enter into agreement with you to become your slave for life? Will you toy with it as with a bird, or keep it on a string like a songbird for your maidens? Do trading partners haggle over it, or merchants shout? Should he that argues with God answer back?
I am unworthy. How can I reply to you? I put my hand over my mouth. I have spoken once, but I have no answer. Twice, but I will say no more.
Then the Lord answered Job out of the templates. Brace yourself and stand up like a man. I will ask questions, and you shall answer. Dare you deny that I am just, or put me in the wrong that you may be right? Have you an arm like God's arm? Can you thunder with a voice like His? Deck yourself out if you can, in pride and dignity. Array yourself in pomp and splendor. Unleash the fury of your wrath. Look upon the proud man and humble him. Look upon every proud man and bring him low. Throw down the wicked where they stand. Hide them in the dust together, and shroud them in an unknown grave. Then I, in my turn, will acknowledge that your own right hand can save you. Consider the chief of the beasts, the behemoth, who devours cattle as if they were grass. What strength is in his loins? What power in his muscles of his belly? His tail is rigid as a cedar. His sinews of his flanks are closely knit. His bones are tubes of bronze. His limbs like bars of iron. He is the chief of God's works, made to be a tyrant over his peers. For he takes the cattle of the hills for his prey, and his jaws he crushes all wild beasts. There under the thorny lotus he lies, hidden in the reeds and the marsh. The lotus conceals him in its shadow. The poplars of the stream surround him. If the river is in spate, he is not scared. Can a man blind his eyes and take him, or pierce his nose with the teeth of a trap? Can you fill his skin with harpoons, or his head with fish hooks? If you ever lift your hand against him, think of struggle that awaits you and let be. Can you fill his skin with harpoons, or his head with fish hooks? If you ever lift your hand against him, think of the struggle that awaits you, and let be. No, such a man is in desperate case. Hold headlong at the very sight of him. How fierce he is when he is roused. Who is there to stand up against him? Who has ever attacked him unscathed? Not a man under the wide heaven. I will not pass over in silence his limbs, his prowess, and the grace of his proportions. Who has ever undone his outer garment, or penetrated his doublet of hide? Who has ever opened the portals of his face? For there is a terror in his arching teeth. His back is rolled. His back is row upon row of shields, enclosed in a wall of flints. One presses so close on the other that air cannot pass between them, each so firmly clamped to its neighbor, that they hold and cannot spring apart. His sneezing sends out sprays of light. His eyes gleam like the shimmer of dawn. Firebrands shoot from his mouth, and sparks come streaming out. His nostrils pour forth smoke. Like a cauldron on a fire blown to full heat, his breath sets burning coals ablaze, and flames flash from his mouth. Strength is lodged in his neck, and untiring energy dances ahead of him. Close knit is his underbelly. No pressure will make it yield. His heart is firm as a rock, firm as a nether millstone. When he rises himself, strong men take flight, bewildered at the lashing of his sail. Sword and spear, dagger or javelin, if they touch him, they have no effect. Iron he counts as char, and bronze as rotting wood. No ill can pierce him, and for him sling stones are turned into chaff. To him a club is a mere reed, and he laughs at the swish of the sabre, armored beneath with dragon's swords. He sprawls on mud like a threshing smudge. He makes deep water boil like a cauldron, and wimps up the lake like ointment in a mixing bowl.
You know all things. No plan of yours can be grasped. You asked, who is this that obscures my counsel without knowledge? Surely I have spoken things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. You said, listen now, and I will speak. I will question you, and you shall answer me. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes.
When the Lord had finished speaking to Job, he said to Eliphaz the Temanite, I am angry with you and your two friends, because you have not spoken as you ought to about me, as my servant Job has done. So now take 7 bulls and 7 rams, go to my servant Job, and offer a whole offering for yourselves, and he will intercede for you. I will surely show him favor by not being harsh with you, because you have not spoken as you ought to about me, as he has done. Then Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamanite went and carried out the Lord's command, and the Lord showed favor to Job when he had interceded for his friends. So the Lord restored Job's fortunes and doubled all his possessions. Then all Job's brothers and sisters and his former acquaintances came back and feasted with him in his home. And they consoled and comforted him for all the misfortunes which the Lord had brought on him. And each of them gave him a sheep and a gold ring. Furthermore, the Lord blessed the end of Job's life more than the beginning. He had 14,000 head of small cattle and 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and as many she-asses. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He named his eldest daughter Jemimah, and the second Kizai, and the third Ki-ren-happuch. There were no women in all the world as beautiful as Job's daughters, and their father gave them an inheritance with their brothers. Thereafter Job lived another 140 years. He saw his sons and his grandsons to the 4 generations, and died at a very great age.